Hello, everybody. Look who's home. Oh, look who's home. Well, he is home. He's back. It's Enzo. Hey, everybody. Let me see who's here. Oh, Enzo's in the chat. Wow. Tanya is here. Thank you, Tanya. And Jaya and Julie. Julie. Julie was on a holiday on a cruise ship to Alaska. But there you go. Yeah. And I haven't spoken to you for a few days, Julie, but I think she was off for another trip soon. Someone's wedding, I believe. I think. Sylvain, hello. And Jaya, I said hello to you, didn't I? And let's see who else. Ian, hello. Dr. Deb, hello, Dr. Deb. Dee, who else? I think Firefly and Whore. I still love that name. Horror. Heather, hello, Heather. The lovely Heather helped me out last week, Enzo, while you weren't here, along with the beautiful Betty. I am Betty Gathers, though we had our girls' morning. I can't even remember what we talked about now, but we had fun. And then Heather had to leave to go to work. Blue Sky Lissa, hello. Good morning to you. Oh, well, good morning my end. It's probably afternoon or evening there, isn't it? And I think I'm caught up. There you go. 16 people are listening to us this morning. How's that, Enzo? But it's early days yet. Oh, thank you, thank you for adoring me. Dear. Thank you very much. I was just saying to Enzo, I sent a little message to someone, and I put my phone down using like Messenger. I sent a little message to someone, put my phone down, and I'm talking away to Enzo, and I'm looking over, and I could see something happening, and I thought, what's that? And then I picked up my phone. My phone was listening to me, and everything I said was in the Messenger thing. I was dictating to my phone. I went, oh my God, how did that happen? Lucky I saw it because
she was talking about. She is now on a list.
Yeah, I probably am. Oh, Hi, Joanne. Yes, I probably am because I said a lot of stuff. So, it could have been some trigger words. The CIA might be onto me now, Enzo. So as you all know, Enzo went to Contact in the Desert last weekend. He's got tons of photos to show us, tons of stories to tell us, so we'll let him do that shortly. And look at his new shirt. There you go, his little alien shirt. Oh, you know what I meant? I wanted to ask you, actually, Enzo, again, another rabbit hole I went down. It was an interview with some fella who, what did he used to do? He used to do something important. But he had footage of a so-called interrogation of an alien, and the alien was coughing and having a bit of a coughing fit and later died. You've seen that? I don't know. That doesn't look very... I hope it's not real. I'd hate to think of some poor little... because he only looked little. He only looked like a little grey alien or whatever he was, or green, whatever colour. And I'm thinking, I hope that's not true. Poor little alien. I'd bust in and rescue the alien.
But in that particular video, they did have two medical technicians that were trying to work on him there. And I've watched a few videos on that one, trying to break it down. Is it real? Is it not real? And nothing conclusive either way, but a lot of people seem to lean towards that was a very articulated puppet that they were using.
I think so. I think it was kind of like an E.T. puppet, because E.T. looks real. I'm just saying. As a matter of fact, there he is, my E.T.
E.T. story, actually, little lady.
Yeah, yes, it is cold. I'll probably take this off soon. It's not a rug, it's a poncho rug. But it is cold this morning. I like being cold, though, because you can get warm. I hate it when it's hot. That's terrible. And Enzo said that where he was over the weekend, and he'll tell you about it, that it was 40 Celsius. So Tanya knows what that is. What is that in degrees in Fahrenheit?
About 102.
Yeah. Yeah, bugger that. Oh, it's 3 Celsius there. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it started to warm up a bit here, but in my house it's cool. So you know. So oh, thank you, Julie. I'm glad you agree with me. It is horrible. You can always get warm. Oh, except if you can't, then you die. Like, you know, if you're in a snowstorm or something. You know. Yeah, I'd rather be cold so I can wrap a rug and stuff and snuggle up than be hot. Once you're hot, yeah. See, everyone agrees with me. You're all so clever. Before I let Enzo start talking about his adventure on the weekend, I am still working, guys. I'm still working on the Black-Eyed Children episode. I'm more than halfway through it. More rabbit holes that I've gone down because of that. But anyway, I'm working on that. I'm going to try and have that out for Tuesday. And if I put it out for Tuesday, hi, Joanne again. 5, it's starting to warm up in Ontario. Oh, Canada, yeah. It's cooler in Canada, isn't it? Yeah, so I'll try and have that out for Tuesday. I have my operation on Tuesday. So not tomorrow, but the next day. So I want to try and have the episode out. So you've got something to watch next week. I dare say Tuesday and Wednesday, I think I'll be off with the fairies on some pretty nice little drugs if I'm lucky. Because I don't take drugs. I don't use drugs. But every now and then when you have an operation, it's kind of fun. Dear, what's Tanya saying? No, actually, my idea of cold is like below 0, or at least starting at 2 and then below 0. I've been in America. I was in America when was I there? November. And it was freaking cold. It snowed. And it was wonderful because I've seen snow, but I've never been present when you wake up in the morning and walk out on the snow and have to be careful not to trip over and all that thing. That was cold, but I managed that. But yeah, no. I think this morning probably was around about the 3-4 mark. It was cold, but it's just cold in the house. And I only had a T-shirt on. So, yeah, I'm from Victoria, Australia. Like, it's cold in Victoria, as Dee's just pointed out. But there you go. Julie says, anything above 25. Yeah, I like it around about the 28 mark myself. And to me, that's a lovely day. You know, you can just put a fan on or whatever. But there you go, Joanne. November can be quite cold up in Ottawa. I bet it can. Because it was cold in Nevada. Oh, no, that was something else. It's all right. I had a thought, Enzo. So who wants to hear Enzo's story about contact in the desert and everything? And he met a movie star whom I don't know. Oh, not a movie star, TV star? TV?
Done both.
Oh, from both. He can bring up a picture of him. I probably know the face more than I know the name. Oh, and apologies, as usual, I have my snoring Rottweiler on the floor behind me. So if you do hear the snoring, it's Muffin, the Rottweiler. And I've got, you ready with the bell, Enzo? I'll just let everybody see that my little sleeping baby is here.
There you go. The eye going there. It's like,
yes, like he was asleep. Oh, go back to sleep. There you go. So the dogs are here. The birds should be quiet. Everyone's been fed. So let's see how we go. The only interruption I can think of will be children knocking at the door asking to go to the shops. That's right, Ian. Bong. All right. Should we do just for fun? Should we do your intro? I do like your intro.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's technically, it's science. All right, everybody, get ready. Let's get ready.
I did show that to a few friends at Contact in the Desert, and they laughed hysterically. They thought it was amazing.
It is. It's cute. All right, here we go.
Who's that man in the fancy shirt? Who's the man with the cheeky smirk? Who has the answers? Who can explain? Well, it's Enzo the science guy. Enzo the science guy. Ask him how, ask him why. Enzo the science guy. He's Enzo the science guy.
I'm glad your friends liked it. I love it. So you could start your own channel.
Yeah, there you go. And actually, everyone that I showed that to, because you put out a short last week for
Yes.
the bit I did
planet.
on the planet procession or whatever it was, and since it was right there at the very beginning, so I just played that for everybody. That it's like, look at this cute thing that Karen made for me. And every single person would be looking at it on my phone, and their head would be doing this. You know, it was just funny to see everybody unconsciously doing their head back and forth like that.
Yeah, it could be, your channel can be Enzo the Science Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then everyone else can help you out until you can just have guests on. That could be all you do. You could just have guests on and talk to people about sciencey stuff. And you can use that intro. That can be your Enzo the Science Guy intro. See, we need to encourage Enzo because he's absolutely got to do something with himself. He's very good at what he does. Yeah, everyone loves you when you talk about sciencey stuff.
Cool.
All right, I'm just checking.
Later as well.
Yeah. All right. So Enzo, I might every now and then shout out if someone new comes in, but other than that, the floor is yours, so to speak. Go.
You could go ahead and share my screen that I have down below there.
I can do that.
Well, I'll try not to make this boring vacation slides, but we'll just run through a few of these. Contact in the Desert. This is the 10-year anniversary of having it in beautiful Palm Springs, California. This is the view from the balcony of my hotel room overlooking the pool. But let's go ahead and start jamming through some slides here. This is when you go outside of your hotel, it opens into this large open area where they had some banners hanging up there.
Wow, those banners would have cost a lot to get made.
Yeah, because the theme, of course, obviously, the center one, Contact in the Desert, Guy and the Astronaut, the Flying Saucer. There was some ancient archaeology talk, and new this year there was a lot of AI talk, which is what the other banner there represents. And when you go down there, when you're like exit your room, you're around looking down this entranceway here. This is like the main bar down here in the bottom. And there's these open areas where people can just sit around and chat and eat. And they've got this fancy staircase that comes down that's impossible to maneuver on when you're hungover. I know, believe me. But because the steps are a different length on the outside. They're wider than they are on the inside because they curve around. So it's like, what am I doing? How am I not gonna fall? But a lot of fun. But a lot of the little like briefings and seminars and panels were very similar to this, where you had some people that just ran through different slideshows. This is one of the ancient archaeology panels. Some of it, a couple different people. What? And a lot. This was a friend of mine that was doing an introduction for other people. Supposedly, I might get a slot like that next year. We'll see. Here's me in the main hall, trying to take a picture. This person had an all mirrored shirt on, so apparently I need to up my game to be more flashy than this guy, I guess. Later, he also had mirrored pants, so it's like, what's this guy wearing? He's like a walking disco ball. But it's me enjoying a show. Lots of panels with.
I know him. He's from. We used to work for the FBI, I believe.
Yep, that's Ben Hansen. Fuck. Is that what it is? Yep. Ben Hansen.
Yeah, that's him.
He was on a panel with a very diverse group. Katie Page, I've known for a long time. She's has her own experiences. She's head of MUFON, Colorado. She had a very strange experience as a youngster in one of those Western spooky ranch places.
Okay.
Craig Campabasso, I actually bought a couple of his books while I was there, got signed.
What does he talk about? What does Craig talk about?
Actually, I have his books right. Yeah. He wrote a book called the UFO Hotspot Compendium, which basically is like a tour guide kind of a thing for hotspots around the United States that you can go to and check out, which is part of my plan with the Van Project. And to go along with it, he's got the Extraterrestrial Species Almanac, which he's a very nice man. And I was like, I'll buy 2 of his books. And I was kind of curious about this. And as it just happened to be, since I bought one, I got a pass to the Extraterrestrial Almanac documentary, which aired for the first time there at Contact. So I went and saw that.
Cool.
For free and all that. So it was still a lot of fun. A lot of good chatting done with him. But
hang on. Thank you, Crow. And Crow, you should watch this. Enzo went to Contact in the desert, and we know Crow likes aliens. And since it's Crow, are we ready?
No, please.
There you go. Thank you, Crow. Thank you, Crow. Hi, Earl. Welcome in. All right, back to you. Okay, back to you. Sorry about that, Enzo, but I had to interrupt. Thank you.
This is I was pretending to take a picture of my friend Kari here on the right while a celebrity was in the back, and I didn't do the best job, but that is Thomas Jane, which some people may recognize from TV or movies. He played like the detective character in The Expanse. He was in one of the Punisher movies. He's been in quite a few shows. And being a curious Hollywood type, is not wearing any shoes. Every time I saw him walking around, he was going barefoot everywhere.
He looks nervous. He looks a little bit nervous. He's got his arms crossed, and he's a little bit, I think he's a little uncomfortable with the attention.
It is. There was the couple times I did see him out and about. Of course, people just swarm up and they see someone they recognize from the movies and stuff. So it was like, oh, hi. Yeah. And that's the thing with this entire conference is there's a zillion, all the UFO type personalities and stuff are all just kind of hanging out together. So you can see, your favorite person from your favorite documentary there and just go up and start talking to them, and that's kind of the allure of Contact. It's not one of these, speakers on the stage and riffraff out of the audience are totally separated all the time. Not at all. It's when they're not up on stage, they're out milling in the crowd just like everybody else. But we did have there were a few other people that were noticed out there. There was Fred Durst was there walking around from Limp Bizkit fame. What is his name? I just drew a total blank on the guy's name now, but he was in Kids in the Hall and
is he the blonde one?
Well, he's all white haired now, but he's.
I used to like Kids in the Hall. They were a bit cheeky, but
I saw him a bunch of times. But anyway, we'll get rolling on here, so we're not spinning on. This a friend of mine was gifted this pair of earrings, which is a
they're so
abducting a little ghost, and I thought it was very funny and took a picture.
That is cute. I think we all are, Earl. I think we all believe. I do. I believe in aliens, except that they live under the ocean. That's what I believe. I don't think, I think they're living here for now.
My friends here, the hanging out. This is on the right. We've got, anyway, the more important thing is these are some of my friends, and these little couch areas.
Those are friends.
Here's my friend. I don't want to turn turned into like, here's my vacation at I don't want it to be boring like that. But this is Jess Rogie here on the right, which you can also hear on her programming here on YouTube and on the radio and stuff like that. This is Jamie in the middle, and Kari again on the far left. But we're all hanging out on these couches that they have, like that. We saw that main bar in that other picture. Outside of there, basically, once the sun goes down, it starts cooling off. That's where everybody goes to hang out. And it's what it is. There were a lot of people there that had never been to any kind of conference like this before at all. And that they're almost every single person, the reason they're there is because they've seen something weird, have experienced something strange, and they're kind of looking for more answers. And since it's been a little more popularized in the news and TV lately with congressional hearings and very outspoken people, things like that, a lot of people felt brave enough to come out and try out Contact in the Desert. So this is where everybody that's there as a regular person, going to see the shows, kind of things, you all have that in common. So you get these amazing conversations with like-minded people about what do you think it is, and everybody has their own pet theories and stuff like that. And even if you disagree, it's like, I think it's probably more like this, but I understand what you're saying. There were never any kind of like knockdown trackouts. No, they're actually us from the future, not aliens from space. There was never that. Honestly, we have just as much proof as both of those things and many others. But it was just amazing, some of the conversations you would get to hanging out on these couches. They had like little fire pits around, and they had ping pong tables, I think, in the background of that one and stuff like that. But this is, to me, the more important part about Contact in the Desert. It's just being able to sit around and chat with all these people from all over the country, all over the world, and share your stories, share your ideas, stuff like that. That's my favorite part. But there's a map. There's Clyde Lewis. If anybody's familiar with his radio show, he hosted a couple of panels. This is in the main hall there. We'll just flash through there. These are the books, close up of the two books I was just talking about that I purchased.
Yep. So the almanac of of aliens, is he basically saying this is what a grey is? Is that what it is? Like what he thinks each species is?
What the book and the little documentary he made for it is, it's basically everyone that has been an experiencer, basically anyone that has said they have been on a ship and encountered one of these aliens. This is basically a categorization of all of those.
Okay.
So you've got everything from the aliens from Betty and Barney Hill, because it'll give like a physical description, what kind of ships they fly, where they say they're from, what their general well-being is, do they want to save us, do they want to eat us, that kind of thing. They did talk about Skinwalker Ranch. Yes, I'd say that's a hot spot. But it's a lot of that. To be fair, there was some of that stuff where I was like kind of rolling my eyes at. It's like, okay, that's a big load of crap. But there were some interesting that they did talk about entities from the middle of the earth. They did talk about some lizard people, but they're all in this book.
Oh, the lizard people. Well, I know them well.
Yes. But,
they love pizza with crickets on them. I mean, what can I say? for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you can go find it. There's a video on my channel where when I was in Virginia City at the Washoe Club, I disappeared to investigate, not meaning to leave Enzo in charge, just that we were supposed to still be able to communicate, but he lost me. So he entertained everybody with the story of what he assumed I was doing down in below the earth, with the lizard people and all sorts of things. So it's quite a funny video if you go find it.
Agartha, the city under the we went through the whole gambit of things.
So if you go find it,
for time for you to come back.
Oh, look at Tanya. Isn't she good? She's put a link to these books if anybody is interested in them. Thank you, Tanya. Good job.
Craig Campabasso, thanks you.
All right. Have a good day at work, Heather. All right. So where else are we? Who else do we see?
This is the Legends panel, where these are historically famous UFO people in the UFO circles, where we started off with this. This is a picture of J. Allen Hynek, who was in charge of Project Bluebeck. He was the physicist that was in charge of that. And
I don't care about him. I just saw who I care about. Did you meet him? Did you meet him?
Who?
Go back to the picture. Him. What's his name that got abducted by the aliens?
Oh, I chatted with most of these people, but this is the Legends panel, and this is Paul Hynek. That's Robert Hynek's son. And on the right, there's George Norrie, Coast to Coast. There's Richard Dolan, who's a UFO historian. Russell Targ, who was involved in the Monroe Institute early beginnings, did a lot of research as far as the government's early research into remote viewing and things like that. 90 years old and still whip smart. Guys, he was all over it. Over on the other side, we've got our contact. On the left, we have Whitley Strieber, known for writing the book Communion and turned into a movie and several other books. Travis Walton, famously known for his abduction experience through the movie Fire in the Sky. Also the only known abductee that got into a fist fight with one of the aliens. And that was my favorite part. Chatterbox Linda Moulton Howe, who just would not hold it down. She would just prattle on. She's an investigative reporter, made her heyday back in the 80s. She was basically the first person to kind of report on cattle mutilations. It's kind of where she got her start, and then spread out from there. So this was basically all of this was like a panel of the classics. This is your classic ufology panel here of all your original folks. So all under one roof, all having a similar conversation. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Travis Walton is someone I'd love to talk to.
He's a pretty interesting guy. And he doesn't hold anything back. He says everything very plainly. He's like, I don't believe it. He won't be rude, but somebody would say something super esoteric. He's like, well, that wasn't my experience, but what I discovered was this. He'd be.
He didn't have a very good experience at all.
No, Travis got a little too close, got excited. He ran up to the UFO and got a little close, and basically got caught in the jet wash or whatever, and got blasted. They took him on board and he didn't realize at the time, but he thought they zapped him intentionally. So when he came to on the table in the ship, he came up swinging, and he's like punching grays and stuff like that. They're like, hey, slow down. We're just trying to fix what happened to you.
They have this every year, don't they? The Contact in the Desert?
Yes. Well, they took a couple years off during COVID times. Last year was their first time back, and was a giant crowd. The crowd wasn't quite as big, I think, this year compared to last year. But then again, things are about triple in price. So that's the other thing is this is in Southern California, and everything was expensive. I mean, just food, gas, everything was outrageous. But
Brian, I'll have a chat to you later. But glad you're still here.
All right.
despite the pain. Yeah, I would love to. I'm actually kind of thinking because I just got so excited. Then I just fangirled over Travis Walton. I should try and get to it next year since if I'm still, kicking. I reckon that'd be. Plus, is that where they have it every year? Is that where they have it?
Yes, the same place there, just outside of Palm Springs, California.
Oh, yes. I think I could live with that hotel in Palm Springs.
I
Plus,
keep
I've got
trying to
another
talk
friend
him into
who
going
lives
to
in
Las
Palm
Vegas, which I think would be a little more affordable for people. But anyways, pressing on here. For the first time this year, they invited the gang from the last podcast on the left podcast or show, if you're familiar with them. And what was funny about them is here they are. And they're very funny, but they're a little rough around the edges. They will certainly curse and make up some stuff, and they will make fun of something that they find funny and nobody else does. But it's not everybody's cup of tea. And they did the classic stand-up comedian thing where obviously some people came in there. It's like, oh, I've never heard of these guys. I'll sit and watch it. Oh my, it's just a little saucier than what I imagined. And then they would like get up and try and leave, and they'd see him leave. He's like, wait, where are you going? This is an experimental thing. We're just trying it out. You don't have to leave. Wow, you don't have to run either. No, what are you doing? You just calling the people out as they would walk out. It was kind of funny. But they did a great job there. This was actually after I watched the Extraterrestrial Species Almanac documentary, which was free. I was down on this end of the property where they've got this big open field that they show movies there every night. I think they showed like Coneheads and some kind of like ET. This particular one tonight, they were showing ET.
Oh.
The movie was introduced, and there was supposed to be a QA afterwards. They had the actress that played the mom from the movie was there.
I like her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been in an episode of Supernatural as well.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, she played she was coming on to Jensen Ackles in the show. She was flirting with him.
Every girl on that show does.
Yeah, and I thought, I can understand completely. Good morning, Jan. Good morning, and hey, Foxfire. But, I can see everybody popping in, so I can see you guys. I'm just letting Enzo talk because it's interesting. Oh, that's nice.
Saturday night, because they had like a live band that played in the main ballroom Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. Dancing, all that jazz, and all that. And Saturday was to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Contact in the Desert. They had the 10th anniversary of Contact in the Desert. The little arch here in the middle is made of an edible cake with a flashy, lighty UFO thing in the top. To my knowledge, no one actually ate it, but you could have if you wanted to.
Oh, that actually looks like cake on top as well.
No, this is not a cake. This is like
okay.
It's got little LEDs that were flashing, and actually one of them got a little piece of icing down here on the bottom and started smoking, which made for a cool special effect. But everybody else, you got a complimentary fistful of Contact in the Desert monogrammed sugar cookie, which honestly, if I'd really wanted to, I could have probably come back with about a box full of about 50 of those. They had a lot of them. But I did bring that on to some friends of mine in Arizona where I went after this, and they loved it. They thought they were great. But more panels where we have our man Travis again and a few others. This was the ancient archaeology panel where they were talking, and we have with Brad Olson, who it just happens to be the night before this I had dinner with. We sat next to each other at a restaurant off campus, and we were chatting quite a bit about megalithic sites within the United States that I was planning on visiting and stuff like that. And
There are a few. There
to
are a few.
not miss a beat, he immediately said, "Well, you should buy my second book, and if you're going to get the one, you might as well buy the first and the third one too." So certainly a salesman. He's also about 6'6". He's a tall drink of water. So. But we had him on there. We've got William Henry, who's I think on every single episode of all the Ancient Alien shows, and
Who's that man with the hat? He looks familiar.
That is J.J. Murtaugh. It's not that legible there.
Murtaugh?
Yep. Him and his wife Desiree, all into the Ancient Aliens and ancient archaeology stuff. Jason Hartwell, Andrew Collins, Timothy Hogan. Timothy Hogan here, or Hogan. I always forget if it's Hogan or Hagen. But anyways, he is I'm trying to remember the exact title. Basically, he's the highest ranking.
Hey, Betty.
What do they call it? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank on them. The knights that were in charge of getting the
Templar.
Yeah,
Templar.
He is the ranking Knights Templar. And he was there talking about ancient societies and stuff like that. So a couple things in there. Oh, there's myself, and there's our good friend Jerry. She's never looked this innocent. We were having lunch at the pool there.
Did you just say she's never looked that innocent? What did you say?
She puts on that she's all innocent and kind, and Jamie is nothing like that. She will like.
It looks like a great place.
Hanging out there.
Hey, what was that picture of, Enzo? All I saw was a lady.
That was a picture of someone that was famous, and I didn't know that someone's like, "Give me your camera," and they're like, took these pictures. Like, I don't even know who this is.
So who was it? Go back. All I saw was a lady.
I don't know who it was.
Well, I might. Go back.
I think it was
the guy, not the lady bending over. The guy.
No, it was the guy. I don't know who he was. I
don't know who he is either.
This is me relaxing in 102-degree temperature, trying not to die.
Hang on. Is it Andrew Collins? His book, The Black Alchemist, is awesome.
Yeah, he was a couple slides.
That's who you had dinner with?
No. Not Andrew Collins. But this is my friend Jamie, who was looking innocent a couple of pictures ago. She's really big into crystals and collecting, various minerals, gemstones, things like that. And she personally made this little packet of stuff just for me. There's a big hunk of petrified wood in there.
That's pretty cool.
And a lot of little crystals and stuff in there. It was very, very kind of her.
Very nice.
But while we were sitting and relaxing, someone spotted a hawk flying by carrying a snake. So I tried to get a picture of it.
Oh, look, he has two. He's got the snake hanging from his little feet.
Yep. Having snake for dinner.
Wow.
But this is Jamie's normal expression, where and you can see the big staircase I was talking about earlier. Let's see. Okay. Now, after Contact in the Desert, I went to visit a few friends in Cottonwood, Arizona. These are my friends.
They've taken your cookies.
I gave it to them, but this is Suzanne on the left and Jara on the right. Excuse me, Jara on the right. From the Authentic Happiness Show that they do a show on Thursdays that I pop in on every once in a while. And also are big into minerals, gems and stuff. So they immediately grabbed that little package I had and ripped it open and started looking at them closely with the light on their flashlights and stuff. So they got a big kick out of that. But we went to the nearby town. It's easy for me to say. Of Jasper, Arizona, where it does have quite a few haunted sites in the town. It's a mid to late 1800s town that sprang up because there was a giant copper vein discovered in the mountains there, and this whole town just kind of like popped up within a few years to help, to support this copper mine. And every building is like precariously perched on the top of this hill. You have to take these switchback roads to get up to it. Haunted Hamburger. We did eat there. That's the whole reason we was there. They wanted to take me to Haunted Hamburger, and we did eat there. And I picked out. You can see it's overlooking this whole valley here, which is very picturesque.
It's very pretty. What's that building down there? Yeah, that's the one I saw you put on the Facebook. I thought, oh my God, I wouldn't even be able to finish the salad. What's that building there, Enzo? It's old. Right in the middle of the picture. The one with the fencing. No, over to your left. Yeah, that. Yeah. What's that?
I have to be honest, I don't know what all the buildings are there, but a lot of them are pretty old.
Yeah, that one in particular is old. You had a photo of it earlier, and you can even tell by the bricks.
This is this one?
That one, yeah.
This was I thought I got a picture of the nameplate for it, but I'm not seeing it. But it was a hotel that had caught on fire and burned down. This is it on the left. Here's like the rest of the town. As you can see, everything gets like a little lower as it goes down the hill. But it was right across the street from where the firehouse is. So the building caught on fire. So, but there was enough. All the wooden part of the building, they condemned, and all they did was leave all the brick and stonework. This was a hotel, because this was supposed to be like their grand entrance down here.
Yeah.
They had all the rooms up here, and it was one of those things where they never rebuilt it, and they just kind of left it open there, and then they put these fences up, and then they put a little placard up.
Yeah, I wouldn't knock it down. Look at all the old bricks. I love it.
Yeah.
There you go. Ian says he's driven through Arizona. There's no good reason on earth why anything needs to be that hot.
It was hot. It was super hot there. But we went to the Haunted Hamburger, and I got
Is it in Jasper, Enzo?
What's that?
Jasper? Is that Jasper, the town that you're in with the haunted hamburger?
I think that's its name. I'm pretty sure that's its name. But
so what did you get? Oh my God!
This is a double haunted hamburger, which has, I mean, even the single haunted hamburger has a slice of Swiss, a slice of cheddar, 2 slices of bacon, a big smear of guacamole. There's a grilled, like flayed open poblano pepper on there. There's grilled mushrooms on there. There's grilled onions on there. And all of that was double because it's the double burger, because I got a second patty on there with a side of jalapeno cold slaw, and washed it all down with a pineapple jalapeno margarita.
Jalapeno margarita.
Yep, pineapple
jalapeno.
It's basically it's a pineapple margarita with jalapeno juice squeezed into it. It's not like there's chunks of anything in it, but it was really weird and different, but it was really good. It was delicious.
That actually looks, when you saw, because that's the one you put on the Facebook, I'm pretty sure. Yep. I just remember thinking, holy cow. It actually looks delicious. It looks like it.
Great.
Yeah. It looks delicious. That's the one thing about America. I will never ever forget the food.
And a side of fried pickles.
Fried pickles, my favorite.
Yep. I'd always seen the fried pickle chips.
Yeah, I love those. Yeah.
But this is the actual spears that have been batter dipped and fried. So that was a little different.
Yeah. And you can't knock it, people. If you've never tried it, don't knock it, because I had never tried it, and I always, if someone says, I'll unless it's something disgusting like the guts of an animal or something. I'll give something a go. And when I tasted the chips, the fries, the pickle fries that are done the same way, but oh my Lord, they're delicious. Yep. Dr.
Yep.
Deb says, did you need a fork and knife? I guess, yeah. Did you
I saw that comment.
Yeah.
I actually, when I, because of course over here is the top part of the bun and all of the trimmings on top of that you slap on there. It was too big for me to buy. It was like this Dagwood type sandwich, like, or Scooby-Doo or something, where I would have to take like a bite off of the top and then a bite off of the bottom, and kept alternating my way around the burger to eat it all. And
he's making me hungry.
I needed a towel afterwards to clean all the fixins off of me, but it was delicious. But I took a picture of this, not realizing there was a display. I'll explain this here in a second. But this is just a view through some of the buildings and how you've got multiple layers to the town leading into the valley.
I have heard of Jasper. Ooh.
Now, this is the one that people would know, because I guess one of the ghost hunting shows spent some time here in the Jerome Grand Hotel.
It's very pretty, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what's the story with the Jerome? Oh, I know who spent time there. Mr. Bagans. That's why it looks familiar. There's something else about that town too.
Actually, there's a lot. It was one of those old West rough and tumble towns, like where somebody get killed all the time, where there was always somebody getting murdered every week, and it was pretty scandalous, some of the stuff that went on there. But
actually, yeah, I do. There is an episode of Ghost Adventures where they go there. Again, I don't know what the history, because when they do history for their shows, it's not always accurate. But yeah, now that's why I know the name, the Jasper, and that hotel. Yeah, cool. Did you stay at that hotel?
Oh, no. I was actually stayed at. I had a free place to stay. I stayed.
Okay.
But this was out on the balcony of one of the places. I have no idea what the hell this is.
It's a
I don't know. It's basically it's a human skull with something around its head and the spinal column in front of this stick.
Yeah, it is. It's a spine, but looks like it's made out of metal, so probably just some kind of weird artwork.
And there's a lot of that in the little shops in town there. It was when we were walking around after dinner, it was after 7:00 and everything was closed. They roll up the streets at 7:00 in that town. And the small workshop building down there. There's actually several buildings of the town that over time from the late 1800s when they built, because they're on this sloping hill, have migrated their way down the hill over the years. No. The original jail, I guess, started off more at the top, and now it's like 2 streets lower than where it originally was built. I thought that was weird.
Someone likes weird artwork, though, don't they?
Yeah. And there's a lot of that. There were certainly, you got a super kind of creepy, almost like dark vibe from some of the places around there. But there's the town of Jerome.
Oh, that's the thing you were talking about, was it? The thing on the building?
Well, this is actually just for the town. This isn't for that one building. I looked through. I don't see it, but
it's all right. That's a minute.
But anyways, there's to go back to there, apparently, and I've got the thing here which we could read, but yeah, you can look that up yourself. Basically, the story is they tried to clean up the town a little bit, at least parts of the town, because there was certainly a caste system. Like at the very top was like the Jerome Hotel and like City Hall and some of the nicer shops. And the lower you went, the kind of like the lower class it was. And like all the rough and tumble stuff all happened down in the lower streets further down the hill. And of course, prostitution was a big thing. Got rich miners got to spend that money. on something, and they would get lonely. And apparently, they didn't like it when they passed the thing saying, oh, prostitution can't happen on these upper streets, which is where a lot of the miners had temporary quarters near the mine, which is only less than a mile down the street from where the town is.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, as a form of revolt, all the buildings have these little passes, like little short, tiny alleyways with steps to get down the hills. So that way you're not walking in the street. And they turned all of those narrow alleyways into what they referred to as Husband's Alley, which is where all of the prostitutes would hang out to sell their wares and such.
Sell their wares. Hey, Jonathan. Sell their wares.
But I thought that was interesting.
Tanya says, where all the husbands go to die. Well,
some of them did. There were
Probably.
some that ended up on the wrong side of things, that's for sure. But the following day, they took me over to Montezuma Castle, which is an
we spoke about that
ancient,
the other week, didn't we?
yeah, it is an ancient Pueblo style structure built into the side of this cliff. It was discovered, of course, by early European settlers in the 1700s, and it was abandoned. And from researching it by talking to local tribes that live in the area, and by carbon dating some of the wood that's made out of this structure, it's about 700 or so years old, and has been abandoned for hundreds of years before Europeans even came to this country. Mostly because they think of bad weather, like drought type weather, because there's a river that runs, or a creek that runs by there that supplied all the stuff, and they just couldn't support themselves anymore, so they ended up the tribe dispersed off into other tribes and things like that that were a little further away. But they had kind of a perfect place. Oh, the park has all these little placards next to all the plant life there of what they were called and what they would use it for. Almost all of the native wildlife had some type of food or medicinal purpose that they would repurpose everything for. It was pretty amazing. But what it is you can sort of, can you see my, you can sort of see my cursor there. There's these little ledges along the bottoms here at various levels where they have
their animals. Yeah.
They had ladders that would go up these different levels to get up to where the housing area is. And they had, some of them were big enough to where they did have some of their livestock kind of hanging out there, smaller stuff like chickens and stuff. And then they would, at night, or if danger was coming, somebody that was going to be a problem, they just pull up all the ladders, and they were perfectly safe up there. If anybody tried climbing up the rocks, they just sit up here on the roof and just rain arrows down on them all day long. But it's really an ideal site for where they picked out. Oh, there's me and Jara. And as you can't really tell, but this is fairly far away, because this is like a people-sized doorway up here in this large. This is like your average house door sized here.
And so I'm curious. Obviously, you're not allowed to walk up there anymore because it's probably But I wonder if the people. I'm always curious, because English people, for example, going back in history, not all that long ago, really, were short, like very small. We're a lot bigger now than we were back in the day. I wonder if they were small too. Short,
probably. Humans in general have gotten much bigger over the last few centuries, just because of more food, better diets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we apparently can't any get taller. That's why Americans are getting wider. But
hi, John.
I would have loved. I'd love to see. Yeah, they're all over New Mexico. These kind of structures like this, but and they have little records, of course, explaining what everything is.
Yeah, you're not allowed up there, D.
Yeah, I guess this was like in 1906, part of Teddy Roosevelt's thing where he wrote bills to create the America's national park system and national landmark things to preserve specific areas so that they wouldn't all get, mowed down and turned into parking lots and shopping malls and gas stations and stuff like that. And this place, Montezuma's Castle, was like the second or third place on his national historical site on his list. So they knew right away this is something they wanted to preserve for people to see. And this is a little side diagram of how they did like their ladder system going up in there, how that all worked. Some pictures of what some of the inside and how they built it. This particular angle, I noticed that I can zoom in a little bit and start seeing some of the cross beams up in the ceiling, and there's a beam in the back. You can see through the window. But
it's just very odd to me, knowing how native, like the Indians, what do you call them, teepees and whatnots, and that just seems, in comparison to what they were doing when the West was one, that's so different to me. I've never known that. It seems more Mexican, like like I've said before, more Mayan.
Well, actually, that's why they originally the original Europeans that settled in the area named it Montezuma's Castle, because they thought this was like a northern outpost for someone from down south, like in the Mexico, Central America, South America. It was one of those groups had ventured up this far, and this was kind of like a little outpost that they had built because, as you say, there were a lot of cultures that, but as it turns out, that's not exactly true, because out west, all over Arizona and around the Grand Canyon, there's quite a few structures similar to this, where they're built back into caves and over, giant overhangs and stuff like that.
I just wonder though why. I may well be just uneducated in actual history of the Native Americans, but it's just interesting that is like, wood beams, like a proper structure, whereas everything that you learn about the American Indians is not that. Like it's teepees, nomadic type.
And most of like the East Coast and even into the Central Plains area where I live, they were very nomadic depending on the season. And in the summer and all that stuff, you'd move to the north where it was a little cooler. They'd raise crops, stuff like that. Then bag it all up and move to the south in the wintertime to not have to deal with cold weather. But this particular thing, like I said, 1906 is when they declared this as a national monument site. And when it started getting into the 50s, well, that's when because it used to be, when they originally opened it, you could walk up there. You could walk inside of it and walk all around, and they had little ladders that they'd made up that you could crawl all over the place. But just the act of these places were so old and so fragile that they were falling apart just from people just simply walking around, and stuff like that. And, of course, people touched the walls and things like that. And it was starting to disintegrate pretty quickly. So in the 50s, they said no more, personal, visits to it. Yep. And they actually had like engineers and historians and archaeologists kind of rebuild some of the areas. Really and they built it back the same way that, as far as they could research through talking with other tribes, how their stuff was built and other things like that, as close as they could to the original, where they rebuilt a lot of it. They did some of the first LiDAR scans ever done were done here to measure exactly how it was, so they could get it back as close as possible. So even future generations would have, this is the baseline of what it looks like. Repair this, add no further. Because supposedly, like here off to one side, they think they may have had like a covering of some type there. There was some evidence of that, but of course none of that.
A gazebo, some sun chairs.
Yeah. So a lot of care was taken with this place to preserve it as closely as they could to the original. A lot of places along that entire cliffside, further down from where the main structure is, they had these little cubby holes all over the place, and you can sort of see it in this picture. This is brickwork that they made up, that they used the same stuff all around, so it looked like it was part of the cliffside where they
Yeah.
put supplies and little storage area, little caches of food and water and things like that. So the folks that were living there 700 years ago really had their act together. It was right next to Beaver Creek, where they found a lot of evidence that they were taking the creek, and this is the creek itself. This little area here is very flat, and you can see the edge of the cliff starts right here. And I have another picture where I just turned around and took a different angled picture. Oh, there's my friends. That's what it looks like from where that I was standing where I took that creek picture. So it's right there. But they have plenty of evidence where they had farms. They were growing crops out in here, and they dug furrows in the, leading some of the water up in there to irrigate the crops.
It's just more advanced to what I see with later. Like it's
right.
maybe they did come up from South America and migrated, because it's awfully close.
Yeah, it's possible, but yeah, they have no way of really proving it. And the indigenous people that live around there said, no, they were just another group, and they found this one fantastic spot that had everything there. So they kind of made that their home for a long time, until a couple of bad summers where the creek dried up. Without the water, you got nothing to drink. You got no way to grow crops. Trade wasn't that good because of the bad weather. There was no reason for anybody to stop there without trading with other groups as they would pass through. So,
it must have been very nice though back in the day, because I'm sure the creek wasn't just a creek; it was probably a little river.
Right. This is actually very sad. Someone had vandalized some of these trees, and they had very bad people. But
I've just let the dog out, Enzo. I'll be right back.
All right.
Come on.
But
you can still hear me.
I found this a funny little one here. This is one of the things that naturally grows right there in front of where these structures are, as Arizona walnut. This tree offers more than shelter and shade. The flavor released from cracking these small walnuts is well worth the effort. Aptly named Chielnehe, which means nuts that you pound. On Western Apaches.
Pound those nuts.
The thick green husks were also ground to produce a golden paint, cloth, and a hair dye. So they repurposed everything that was in nature all around them. They were very, very self-sufficient here at this site. And more talking about how, some other tribes after that original tribe moved out, kind of spent some time there, maybe a week or two, as like hunting parties and stuff like that. And then they would move on, and they left a few things behind, which just added to the confusion hundreds of years later about who actually lived there and who didn't.
Ian, off-limit caves in the Grand Canyon. There is.
There is a theory that there was a set of caves that was discovered that had Egyptian-like hieroglyphics in it.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And there are parts of the Grand Canyon you are not allowed to go in. You can't even fly like a drone or an airplane or anything like that over it.
So that part's true.
There are some mysterious things. After they closed down the time when you could go into the little places yourself, they made this big diorama in a big display where you could sort of see what the insides were like, to get a picture of what their daily life was like running around inside of there. This is when they made the presentation for making the diorama in 1951. And then inside, there's like a whole blown history of the whole local area. The name of the people was the Shinagawa, I guess is how you pronounce it.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
a lot about
Cinnamon.
them, about a lot of the earlier explorers, a lot of things that happened during the time. 1906, when Roosevelt made it a national monument. This is a picture of what they think like the average room in there kind of looked like.
Looks cozy.
If you look here on the left, they have an actual loom for making like blankets and clothing and stuff like that, because they would grow their own cotton and use other little native plants to make all of this stuff from scratch. They had a lot of jewelry that they made, and very fancy and very ornate bowls, and they got grinders there for all that stuff. It's really intriguing how advanced some of these folks were.
Mm.
Yeah, Montezuma was never here. He'll explain that. But after this, my friends, they took me on a little, again, being rock hounds, that same little creek that runs by there. We went a little upstream, and they didn't tell me we were doing this. So they had like bathing suits on underneath of their outfits. So they just like were jumping into the creek and all that. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. I'll stay here on the side, I guess. But I was taking a picture of this fish in there. But to further illustrate the level of like gems and minerals and stuff like that, just look at all the different colors that you see, just of different minerals and stuff here on the bottom of this little creek. It is crazy. You can find just about anything there. Mineral.
It's really pretty.
Yeah, this is little creek. This is part of a little park, a public park that's right there that this creek runs behind, and you got houses back here. And it's just beautiful up there. Someone made a little rock tower out of 4 big rocks. This was about 1 meter tall. But of course, you got to take all the rocks that they found. Jera's she's like the super rock hound. She'll find a rock and just pick it up because she thinks it looks cool. And she keeps a Home Depot 5-gallon bucket in the back of her car to throw all the rocks in. You take the rocks home, and some of them might be geodes, so you got to take a hammer and chisel to it to pop them open. This one was not, but this was just a composite. The pictures don't really do it justice. This was just glittering like crazy in the sunlight. But we went for a little walk in their local neighborhood, because where they live in Cottonwood, Arizona, which is a small town there nearby where all this stuff is. And they live like on the very edge of the town. Like one side of the street is town, the other is just wildlands. And this is how cool their little neighborhood is. All the neighbors take all their dogs and their kids, and they go out for a walk right at sunset, right when the sun just dips below the mountains to the west, and it cools off fast. So it's the coolest part of the day where you can still see. And they all go for walks in the afternoon. So everybody's pretty healthy around there. And on this walk, there's like a little neighborhood library, and it's got books on local poetry, local artists, history, music, all kinds of stuff. It's one of those, put a book in, take a book out kind of a things. It's pretty cool. Just totally free. This little thing that one of the neighbors set up with a bunch of books.
It's pretty. Yeah. A lot of little places, even around where I live, they do that at different shopping centers. There'll be in good faith, you take a book, you bring it back, or you replace it with another one. Yeah. I think it's, I like that. Is that a cactus? A cactus?
There's well, of course, it's right at the beginning of summer for us, so a lot of the spring blossoms on a lot of the cactus or cacti.
Yeah. I've got some cactus in my garden. I love it when it flowers like that.
I know.
I've got pink ones and orange ones.
This is the street I was talking about, where on the right is town, the left is just wilderness.
Ooh. So coyotes, wolves, bobcats. Oh, look at that.
That's
awesome.
These are all prickly pear plants, and I'd never seen this purple color before.
No, I've seen that sort of the greeny color. Maybe that's just, I don't know, that's pretty.
I know.
Some people don't like cactus, but I do. I think they can look really pretty. They're flowers.
These in the spring grow these little buds on them, and that's where the flowering part is. And also very edible once you pull the little thorns and stuff off. but a lot of people eat those. It's pretty common in the diet back in the day.
Good to know if you ever, good to know if you're ever stuck in the desert. That's where you can get some water from.
Like this is the coloring. This is the same type of plant. It's just for whatever reason those other ones with that weird purple color. And
yeah, that's what I'm used to. We have them here too.
At all over that whole area are just these what are those called? These vines, honeysuckle vines everywhere. So the whole area has this sweet aroma to it. It's just kind of a magical place. But there's a rock that I found. It was very red. It just caught my eye for some reason. But
it looks like a frizzled up chicken nugget.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that because I just kind of washed it off, so it has a little glisten to it. So we weren't sure what it was. So we looked it up in one of the other books that I bought, and it wasn't that special once we actually looked it up. But we did find this on our afternoon walk. If you look
is that a fossil?
It is.
Just
laying there on the ground, and it's
probably pretty cool.
Multi-million years old. These little embedded into the rock there. But that ends my adventure for all my wasting everybody's time with my crazy family.
Yeah, that was cool. Thank you, Enzo.
That's how I spent the last week plus on the road.
Well, it looks like you really had a good time.
All you have to do is go out and find
it. Brian put up earlier, and I didn't want to interrupt the flow of things with your presentation, but that's pretty interesting, Brian, that you had booked in to take an adventure to the other side. That's pretty cool, pretty brave, and it's okay to chicken out. You weren't ready. Simple. So I hope that that your ailments are controllable with some good pain relief and things like that, because if you made that decision, there was a reason to make that decision, probably in regard to pain and quality of life. But glad you're here today for Enzo's presentation. See, there was something to stay around for, and I hope to see you again next week, Brian. And so on. So much love to you, my friend. Much love. Ian says, that was great. An actual full hour of Enzo's story hour. I know. Instead of just me baffling on about bullshit.
Me telling tall tales and giving lessons along the way.
Yeah. There you go. I should do an outro for Enzo, the science guy, as well, but I think the intro is pretty good. That can be the outro. Yeah, it does look like you had a great time, doesn't it, Dee?
It was a lot of fun. Like I said, there was so many times I'd be down outside, just chatting with people there at Contact in the Desert, and I'd be standing there and I'd have my lanyard on, my VIP lanyard, which apparently was controversial with some people. But they'd look down and see that after we'd have this long, 20-minute conversation about whatever we were talking about. And they're like, when is your panel going to be? I want to come and watch you when you talk. And it's like, I'm just a mortal man. I am not part of a panel or anything.
I'm telling you. No, you're very good at putting things together. You know what I did miss after all the talking about it? I actually didn't feel too well. That's why I didn't go out and look, but I didn't look at the planets and their parade. Didn't look.
It was.
I'm sure the planets are still up there, safe and sound. I did see some photos though. They just look like big glittery stars in the sky, which they're pretty cute. I like planets. Maybe one day we'll get to travel to some, but I think I'll be dead by the time that happens. But then again, maybe not. Maybe not. We might end up like George Jetson with our little,
that's right.
Our little things.
We've got just about everything else except that.
He's got a distinctive shirt collection, though, Ian. I think that'll pass. I think that he could wear his tinfoil hat. He's got his tinfoil hat there handy somewhere, I think.
I have here.
Oh, there it is. Hey, you know what I was watching? Again, I think it was the Y-Files. Oh, no, maybe it wasn't the Y-Files. I was watching something, and they were talking about an experiment back in the, I want to say 80s, where it was some kind of like a microwave, or it was a mind control thing. They had soldiers that were told to go for, like, run or go forward, attack, whatever, but it was a mind control thing, and this thing sent out something that stuffed around with your head and made you scared for no reason, and you ran off. Do you know what I'm talking about, Enzo?
During Desert Storm, was it that one?
No, it was some kind of mind control thing that was like and it made a lot of them, the people that were affected by it, it made their, like, it felt hot, like, so they had to run away. It was like some kind of microwave, like, signal or something.
Yeah,
it was warfare shit.
Actually, that they developed that actually for the military, of course, developed it first, but there are places that use that for like crowd control. If protesters get too crazy, they'll do that. There's also one, it's called it's a very specific audio frequency called the brown sound, which will make you accidentally poo your pants.
Yes, yeah. And they were talking about how they can, it was actually pretty scary, because they said that can literally make you panic and run and not understand why.
Yeah.
Like, so they were looking at using it in warfare, and they reckon that's what they used in Iraq. Hang on. Saddam Hussein. Where was Saddam Hussein from?
That was Iraq.
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 Yeah, and they were talking about how the soldiers, his soldiers, were just sort of fleeing, like taking off from these places, and it turned out to be something that they were broadcasting on the radio, and that's what I'm pretty sure it was a Y-Files episode. And I was waiting for the end of the episode for him to go, yeah, but it's all rubbish, like he sort of does, and he didn't. And I'm like, oh, no, that's not a very good thing to have. You could evoke all sorts. Maybe they used it January 6th in Washington. The CIA, FBI.
That sounds too clever for that bunch to be.
Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it? But it was just like, wow, all these things. If anyone hasn't watched the Y-Files, how many followers has he got? He doesn't need followers, but frig, he's got like millions, trillions.
Yeah, 3 or 4 million subscribers.
3 or 4 million.
It is a great show. It's actually there's a couple of the secondary characters from that show were at Contact in the Desert. There, got to see them, chat with them a few times.
Yeah, I'm fascinated.
The goldfish was not there.
The little fish. Yeah, but I really enjoy his show, and I enjoy he often, as you would know, Enzo, because you obviously watch him, often at the end of an episode, he'll give a little lecture on to why we should always question things and not just go with the narrative that we're told by our governments. But yeah. Like the Y-Files, that's it. Yeah, if you really want to watch interesting stuff, guys, he really does. He'll tell you, you'll start out watching it. I know now how he does his format. You'll start watching it and thinking, oh my God, because you'll go through the story of what this is all about and what happened to people and whatever. And then as he wraps it up, he gets into but hang on a second, let's break this down. Because some of his subject matter is quite spooky. Like you think, oh, geez, are we doomed? And then he'll get to the end and he'll explain, yeah, but, here's the real sus. And then other times he gets to the end of it and you think, shit, we need to be careful. But we'll see where the little world takes us. We'll see what happens. I think it was I was watching and he was talking about aliens, that possibly they do watch us, and the only time that they'll probably ever intervene is if we look like we're going to damage the planet. Like, they don't really care if we knock ourselves off, but
And
if
that's
we damage
basically
the
it, yeah.
planet, if we're going to damage the planet, they might intervene. So that's always nice to know. So long as they don't hurt us poor measly peasants and just get on to the government, that'll do. Pick on them. But the government's all very lucky. They've got all these wonderful places built in mountainsides. They'll just take off and shut the doors, and they can probably live in the mountainsides for hundreds of years for all we know. It'll be us poor little zombie people left. But anyway, yes, Tanya is one of the best mods around. I do appreciate my Tanya. Dear. So yeah, that was really good, Enzo. It really does look. It's actually got me thinking. I'd love to go to that thing. Who knows? We'll see where life takes me. Because
there's a lot of adventurous places right in your own backyard. You don't necessarily need to travel halfway across the world, but
but in my own backyard. Actually, there's a few places I should check out. I know there's a few places here in Australia, in the middle of Australia, that I would love to get to see, that are alien hotspots, for want of another word. So yeah, there's a few places I'd like to see. But I guess from
your little Area 51 out there, as I recall.
We do. Pine Gap, is that what you're talking about?
Pine Gap.
Yeah. You can get reasonably close to that, but not much like Area 51, but yeah, there are quite a few places I'd love to see. I've still got to get to Ayers Rock, except we don't call it Ayers Rock anymore. We call it Uluru. That's its native name, Uluru, a big red rock. I'd love to go and see that. My grandpa went to see it. He climbed it. You can't climb it anymore. You're not allowed to walk on it because it's sacred. But yeah, he climbed it back in the day when you could climb it. I don't have a desire to climb anything high. I'm much like a few of you there in the chat. I noticed before, people saying they're scared of heights. Yeah, I don't like heights. But I feel very brave when I am in America and drive along the mountains to get to Virginia City, because that's a high mountain when you look down. And there'd be a few of those in Arizona, I would assume too. Although Arizona's pretty flat, but you would have had to have driven through some mountainsides.
Not the route I take. I was up at 7,000 feet at one point on my drive.
Yeah, and when you look down, you think, ugh. Yeah, I'm not, but I can drive on mountainsides, and I've learned how not to look down. Yeah. And the good thing about America is most of the time you're not, or sometimes you are on the edge, but because you drive on the opposite side, it feels a bit safer. It's the way it is. If I'm not close to the edge, I'm happy. But yeah. Let's see. What did Ian say? I'm not sure what Ian and Dr. Deb are talking about. Yes, thank you to everybody that comes in and supports myself and Enzo on a Sunday. And you do learn things, you do see things, so it's nice. It's nice. I was telling Enzo earlier, I've got a few books that I'm reading on. I've just gone blank. What am I reading in them on? Starts with M. The something Institute, Monroe Institute. Yeah, and you said that fellow was, that's because I could talk to them. I'm trying to work out. For those of you who didn't see it, I did a live stream, and interestingly enough, actually, Enzo, no one's complaining about my audio going in and out, so I think I've fixed the issue. But yeah, we myself and Lisa from Grayson Report did a talk on near-death experiences the other day. We did a little live stream and spoke about that. And the reason I kind of started reading about the Monroe Institute was the link between near-death experiences out-of-body experiences and consciousness. So, as I said to Enzo, in a near-death experience, what was the name? The Bristol project or report said that when people see a tunnel, it's because their visual cortex is breaking down. So they're not really seeing a tunnel. It's just how the visual cortex breaks down, and that's what they're seeing. And Dr. Fenwick said that, yes, absolutely, that would be absolutely something that happens when the visual cortex breaks down. However, it didn't explain a consciousness, the fact that people come back from seeing the tunnel and can describe like that what was happening to them when they were clinically dead, and that therefore what happens to the consciousness outside of the body, what happens to us when we die, so or what happens just with the out of body experience, like how can people leave their body but their consciousness kind of goes with them, like it's their consciousness that leaves the body, it's not. So that's why I'm reading all these books on the Monroe experiment. It was very, very interesting. So I'm going down a rabbit hole with that, but that'll take me a long time to go down, I think.
I picked up
But that's what I've been reading. That's what I've been reading.
book myself.
Yeah.
Rock Canyon. And it's all of these ancient petroglyphs written on rock walls and stuff that are, again, several hundred years old at best. And it's just, I'm fascinated by it. I don't know why. It's I guess it's like, it's their history. You know, it's something that has stood the passage of time and still there for us to enjoy today. I love looking at it.
Yeah, I find all of those rather fascinating too, all of those rock paintings. And hi, Shore Woman. Hey, Ian, I'm a Joe Rogan fan, so what does that say about me? I like that he asks questions. I like Rogan. Some people don't. I don't know why. Why don't people like Joe Rogan? I don't know. I think he's very clever. He likes to learn. He has diverse people on his program, and not everybody that's on his program he agrees with, etc. So he's very diverse in who he has. He doesn't always have people on that agree with him. So that's pretty cool. That's why I like him.
Unfortunately, we've gotten to this point in society here lately that like Joe Rogan has been popular for a long time, but if you love him, and then he talks about something that may go a little against what you personally, no, he's the worst, I can't watch him anymore. It's like, really, one thing that you disagree on. We need to get away from this all or none kind of ideals of everything's black and white and left and right, all that crap, where you can like some of the conversations I had at Contact. Some of the people I spoke with didn't necessarily agree with me on some of my opinions. I certainly, may not have agreed with some of their ideas on things, but we didn't get into a fist fight or anything over it. And we didn't all walk away in a huff or anything.
No.
We need to bring back a little more rationale of having civil conversation and stuff like that. It drives me bananas when people are like, wow, he's pretty good, except for that one time that he talked about whatever the thing was that stuck in their craw. And it's like, I'm going to torpedo the whole thing because of that one thing that somebody said. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's most people are somewhere in the middle of any topic or any stance. It may sway one way or another, but it's not it shouldn't be as polarized as it is.
No, and that's the thing. Like I think the reason, for example, Joe Rogan, that I like watching him is he does have such interesting guests on, and some of them have very. They talk about things I would never have thought of, right. And so I'm learning stuff. And then you can look into what they've discussed, and you can find someone else with a completely different perspective on the same subject matter. Like even, oh God, the journalist / archaeologist that was on with the archaeologist. The other week he had him on, and they were arguing about shit, Enzo. What's his name? You know, he's a journalist, but he's not. But he goes to all the archaeological sites, and I can never say it. Temple. Good. Oh, Enzo. And remember they had the big argument on there was the mainstream archaeological fellow, Brian Wanker, and yeah, I've just gone blank. It was a big topical talk the other week on Joe Rogan. But yeah, just that you can still see two sides of things, and you think, you know,
Graham Hancock.
Thank you.
And Flint Dibble.
And Brian somebody.
No, the other guy's name was Flint Dibble.
Flint. Yeah.
And he certainly did dress and appear like a Flint Dibble, you would imagine. It was but yeah, I mean, like that was, you know, there were certainly a lot of things that they talked about where it was just the seconds one thing was said, just stonewall. Nope, not going any further. We really need to grow out of that fast, because
I think everyone can have their own opinions, and that's good, because if someone's got a different, I often say, oh, what if blah blah blah. I love to have a conversation with somebody where they say, oh, thank you, Shape. I enjoyed your episode. Oh, well, you know I do. I always commented. Yeah, the Shape's great. I love the Shape. Yeah, I love having a conversation where sometimes I think I know it all. And then someone will go, oh, yeah, that's blah, 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 blah. And this is how I love to have a conversation with someone who's got some facts, not someone who's got an opinion not based in fact. So if someone says to me, oh, that's a load of rubbish, I'll go, why? Why? Why do you think, oh, it's just rubbish? What a load of rubbish. But they can't tell me why they think it's a load of rubbish. Then I can't have a conversation with someone like that, because they're not basing how they feel on a fact. So if they can say, well, I think it's untrue because here's the facts as I see them, and then I can look at their facts and I can go, oh, yep, okay, cool. I'll look into that a little. That's the kind of conversation I like. When you come up against someone who just goes, yeah, no, don't. Yep, don't. I don't think that's true. Well, why? Why don't you think that's true? Explain why you don't think that's true. So when it's just somebody that doesn't have any facts to back up their argument, well, then that's not really an argument, is it? It's just you being stubborn and uneducated. I think when people make comments like that, they're uneducated. They're not educating themselves as to why. They're just, you know, be it a religious thing, maybe it's something someone says, so they just put up this wall of, oh, no, that's not true. But why? Why is it not true? Like that, those sorts of conversations are so cool. And the amount of times that I've learned something new and been educated as into why what I'm thinking could be wrong, I love it, because I'm learning. And that's really, it just, everybody has different perspectives on things. So it's not a bad thing to disagree with someone if they've got facts to back it up, you know? So, yeah, I like a good conversation. I've been watching someone else too. Oh, there he is. When I was in America in November, my friend had the TV, and when I was bored and it was cold, she'd put on, what's his name? Gutfeld? And I was watching this show called Gutfeld, and I'm like, who is this dude? He's funny. I've been watching him. He's very... he doesn't pull punches, does he?
No, he doesn't. Greg Gutfeld over on the Fox channel.
Yeah, he's funny, but I like him because he kind of says what you're thinking, but he says it out loud. So I'm like, oh, all right. So I don't mind him. And he's someone else who has diverse people. Not everybody on his show agrees with him. I watched him the other day. He had shit, there I go again. Where are those memory pills you're talking about, D? Caruso memory tablets. I think I need them. Oh, shit. He had someone that he really he's well known on the telly, wears glasses, very outspoken, liberal. Is he liberal? Oh, I don't know, Democrat. I don't know, but he's Gutfeld. He's completely different to Gutfeld, but he had him on, and it was a really good interview because they are very different, but they were having a conversation where they were back and forth, and it was fantastic. And I thought we need more of this instead of the ones that you're wrong and just name call
over each other. It's just crazy.
Yeah. That's why Piers Morgan, I watch him sometimes too, but sometimes I can't watch him because I know what he does. He purposefully gets a guest on that's going to create an issue.
Right.
He purposely gets someone on who actually presents as quite stupid, don't even know their facts, but he does that on purpose because he knows it'll create drama and people will watch him. Sometimes I've got to tune. I like Piers. And I like a lot of the people he gets on, but sometimes I've got to tune out of his because they just start yelling at each other. They're just yelling over each other, and then they turn into silly little children, and it's like, oh, God, can't watch it. But I can watch Gutfeld. Even when they disagree, I can watch it because they disagree politely. Oh, dear. Let me see. I've been talking. What's Dr. Deb saying? This is reminding me right after 9/11, I flew to Europe just to randomly speak with people from various countries to hear their perspective on the state of the US. It was fascinating. Yeah, I remember here in Australia, we were due for elections. We were needing a new prime minister, and everybody wanted our particular prime minister gone, Mr. John Howard. And 9/11 happened. And that's why I worry sometimes why certain things happen when they happen, because 9/11 happened and everybody panicked and we were all frightened. You had just gotten rid of Clinton. So Clinton was no longer president, but he did come here. He came here for a visit around that time. And I remember everybody being terrified and still wishing he was president because people felt safe when he was president. I'm not sure why, but we did. And then nobody voted out John Howard. He got back in, which was interesting to me because it was because people were scared. And so better the devil, you know. And it's interesting sometimes how these things occur right at the time of an election. But yeah, it was pretty scary. I remember that day and just watching with absolute sadness and, and if all of the conspiracy theories are true about that, how horrific that would be. I kind of hope that that's all they are, conspiracy theories. But interesting that Alan Jones, was that his name? Hang on, what's his name? Alex Jones. Yeah, how he talked about that's what's going to happen. Like, what the? And it happened. What the? But yeah, no, everybody, it's interesting how things happen in different countries and all countries have a different perspective. Yet, in some ways, we all react the same. Through fear, we kind of stick with what we know as opposed to, well, crap, let's fix this and get someone new in, or whatever. So, I don't know. Actually, isn't that a sad thing, Black Cat? I do remember that Rudy, look at where he is now, right? But I do remember at the time everyone got great comfort from him in New York at that time. So despite how people end up being or whatever, he was pretty good for this, I think, from an outsider's perspective. I don't know what actual New York people felt, but I think everybody felt pretty safe with him in charge too. Pretty scary time. And I remember everybody went off air, Jay Leno, Conan, everybody, everyone wanted to feel safe. So the minute they came back on, it was kind of like, oh, good. Our friendly faces are back. We need to laugh.
Back to normal. Yeah.
something, yeah, it was kind of, it's amazing, isn't it? It was kind of like feeling safe again because our friendly faces, the people that we watched to laugh with and to feel normal with, were back, you know. So I think that's one of the worst times in history, that 9/11.
It's pretty
That
ugly.
It was pretty horrible, you know, and it's amazing how many, like my girls were just born then, you know. My boys obviously were teenagers, but my girls were just born, so young kids nowadays don't really know what that feels like. I hope they never do.
They never do. Yeah.
But I really hope they never do. But yeah, it was like that, a security blanket. It kind of like when everybody came back on air after that and started to sort of, you know, celebrities were coming on and trying to keep everybody safe. I remember, you know, people going to help, and it was just and some heroes came out of that, and the sadness of all the people that were lost. It was just, why doesn't the world learn? You know, I think we do. I think the normal people do, but then it's forgotten because a certain time lapse happens, and it's only like World War One and Two, and people. You talk to young kids nowadays; they don't even know. I remember seeing an interview once where someone actually mentioned, "Do you know what the Holocaust is?" And some young kid said, "Isn't that a band?"
Oh no.
Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell? So it's amazing that certain, it's I don't know. I don't know what to say. But anyway. Let me see. What have I missed? Yeah, I know. Sometimes when I'm watching Friends and it pops up, I go, oh, Twin Towers. But it was pretty bad how they just kind of melted, didn't they? I mean, that's weird. But that takes you back to conspiracy theories, so I'll just leave that where it is because
Yeah. There
that's
was actually somebody at Contact that
talked about it.
he talked about it, but he didn't tell anybody that's what he was going to talk about. He said his panel was going to be on something else. He wheels in a paper mache twin towers
Oh,
on
no.
a flame-proof table. His intention was to catch it on fire. His whole thing was they weren't destroyed necessarily by the planes. The planes did hit the towers.
Yeah.
But they were finished off by the alien space laser. And
Oh. Okay.
I mean, it used to be a long time ago, several years ago, Contact in the Desert was full of every kook wacko around, and they've done a lot of cleaning up.
But they
There's
forgot one.
a couple that trickle in, and the hotel security had to come in. It's like, you are not setting that on fire inside of the building.
Oh. And that's like I do, like when you look at footage of the Empire State. God. When you look at footage of the Twin Towers being built and the metal and the, like, it does it, when you think about how it was actually made, it is still really odd that where those planes hit, that the buildings fell like that. It is really odd. Like you would, I don't know, something. I mean, they both went, and so controlled. Like not, not.
Well, it's because the center part of the buildings is where all the structure was that was holding the whole thing up. And you don't have to melt steel. You just have to weaken it a little bit. You create that weak point. Everything, the whole weight of the building above that point is just crushing down on it. And once it starts to go.
Yeah, it certainly went. Certainly went. Oh, Tanya.
Look at there.
She just wanted us to dance. That's what it is.
Yeah, let's get out of this topic.
Let's see. Oh, goodness me. Where are we? There we go. Here we go. Hey, Paranormal Monkey. Thank you so much, Tanya. Thank you so much. Um, uh, what was that? Shawwoman says, I used to be one of those conspiracy people, but when you combine everything that burned, they forgot to add water to the mix. I don't know, which caused a chemical. Oh, okay. What happened with Building 7? What was Building 7?
Building 7 was one of the smaller buildings off to the side, and after that collapsed, it also collapsed. And
Oh.
why did that fall down?
Oh, I know which one now. Oh, yeah. It was, yeah. Like, that's what I mean. Like, we can't all think, oh, and again, thank you, Tanya. Awesome. We can't all, conspiracy theories, sometimes you've got to settle down. But it just was, all things aside, it was a really odd way for those buildings to fall the way they did. I mean, usually that's a controlled, like when they demolish a building, it's very controlled. It goes down much like they did. And it's kind of like weird and fast, like fast. So I don't know. And at the end of the day, we're never really going to know. And you just hope and pray it wasn't the conspiracy theory. It was just a faulty building that happened.
Alta, you got two jetliners smash into it. That's
I mean, they're pretty big planes. Pretty big planes to go bang into the hill.
It hit with enough velocity that the cockpit came out of the other side of the other one of those buildings.
Shit. What a horrible thing. Oh dear. But horrible things happen every day, in different ways. But just that, I think big things like that, obviously it's like so let's hope that horrible things stop happening, please. Let's just let some common sense come through and people learn to talk nicely to each other and argue politely. Just,
Yes.
and if you get, and if you get really upset about something, and I do, like I get really upset about things sometimes, just try to breathe, walk away and come back. And try to see the other person's perspective. But some common sense, just some common sense. What are you showing? Oh, here we go. What are you showing me there, Wins?
I went to in 1985. I had my senior class trip. We went to Washington D.C. and Baltimore and New York City, and I got to go up inside of the towers and all that. And I picked up brochures for every stop of all the places we went. And my oldest sister was moving some boxes around, and there was one with my name on it, and this was right on the very top. And like a couple of years ago that she found this. And to see that is just like, that's creepy.
And it's sad. It's sad. But that's treasure now. That's a treasure. Yeah, I know, Debbie, right? But what's that? Paranormal spreading in the love mile. Yes, I see there's a few people live this morning. Joe is live at the moment, and Fantastic Publishing is live. So, and little old me. How dare they go live on my Sundays?
Hey, the more the merrier. We were talking a little bit earlier about watching TV and how it's like around the clock coverage of horrific stuff for like almost a full week, and the regular programming was interrupted. People need their breaks from their everyday life, and nowadays, in current year, YouTube is kind of taking the place of some of TV and movies and stuff like that, where people would rather sit and watch people that they enjoy and join in the conversation and the chats and stuff like that, so that we are the entertainment now. We are that break from reality of your daily drudgery and stuff like that. So the more the merrier for people on YouTube and all the other platforms. I love it.
I know. Paranormal Monkey. My daughter, one of my children, was born January 2000, and of course September 2000 that happened. And I remember at the time looking at her and thinking, oh God, what kind of world is this for my kids? But no, so far, nothing. I can't think of anything actually really horrendous like that. That's so far, that's touch wood. I don't want anything. I mean, obviously, something horrendous will happen, but when it's a natural disaster, although horrendous for people, natural disasters I live with because, oh well, it's a natural disaster. Nothing could be, although sad and people lose their lives, it's nothing man-made and out of our control. But when it's something that's man-made, like a nuclear bloody plant exploding, or like any, or terrorism, that's when it's upsetting. And you just think there shouldn't be, just shouldn't happen. But who knows? The world may grow in time. I think actually at the moment a lot of people are questioning a lot of things. I think in some ways the human race might be growing a little bit. We've still got our silly people, but on the whole, people are interested in having some good conversations,
Yes.
and listening, being
It,
more
it,
open.
it shows from, like we were just talking about, more people watching YouTube versus
Yeah,
regular TV, which I saw a couple of people say in the chat.
yeah, yeah. I
We're
don't watch
kind
TV.
of at this odd turning point because events from the last few years, people realize that the news
Oh,
lies
is not.
a lot.
It's controlled. Yeah,
And it's not for you. It is programming for you that nobody listens to anymore. Everyone's seeing through. They're so far outstretched on the stuff they're trying to get away with that it's obvious now, and it's ridiculous. So a lot
yeah,
of people have totally tuned out on stuff like that. They've got their. You can certainly customize a feed in Twitter for whatever your news sources you like and things like that. You can certainly designing that a little bit. Yeah,
yeah.
I was in the hotel I stayed a couple nights in a few hotels along the way. I never turned the TV on at all. I mean, I watch local TV. No.
Look at what Tanya says. Yeah, she watches YouTube more than TV, which is ironic because once upon a time I said I will never watch YouTube. Why would I? I know, and that's the thing. It's honestly where I get most of my news from. And there's certain people I trust to tell the truth. Like I actually do trust Joe Rogan. He might have different ideas, but I trust him to tell the truth. And he always comes forward when he's stuffed up. I've seen him. He comes on and goes, "Oh well, I stand corrected."
He's
Another,
got the famous line. It's like, I'm not sure if that's true. Jamie, can you look that up? And Jamie looks
yeah,
it up for him and pulls out.
Jamie looks it up. And of course there's Russell Brand. I mean, look how they tried to get rid of him. Nothing came of that, did it? Right now, that all came from mainstream news outlets, and he's still standing. And he had something interesting I watched the other day, and I thought, sheesh. And then I looked into it further, and there you go. And I love that we can look into, I think it's Fox, or it could be, I think it's Fox that sometimes broadcasts the Congress hearings that are going on, or when Congress sits. Oh, it's like there's a lot now we can learn from watching stuff, which is really good. Yeah, Dee, like that was a shit show. The Dee's agreeing with me, Paul Russell. It was a shit show. And it was mainstream media getting rid of someone who was talking about stuff. But you see, he's not the only one talking about stuff anymore. So you can't get rid of Rogan. They tried to do it with him too.
They did.
You can't get rid of Rogan. You can't get rid of Brand.
He's telling people to take horse tranquilizers.
Oh, woo, like freaking hell! And then I know, and then you've got the Gutfeld. I like him. And then people don't really like Shapiro, but he has some valid points as well. Everyone's different. Everyone has their opinion, but ultimately, everyone I watch has the same thing in mind, that we, as people who are electing people, open our minds and eyes and listen, and just be sure that what you're being told is the truth, not just something that the rich people who really do control the governments. I mean, let's face it, that's not a conspiracy theory, that's a fact. They're the ones that push the narrative and try to scare us into stuff. And really, if we all just sort of open our eyes and ears, we can eventually maybe get the right people running our countries that actually care about us, the people, and not the big companies that line their pockets. So be interesting to see what happens. I'm looking forward to a bright future. I'm hoping the world evolves, and because if we don't, we're done for. Really, we're done for.
We're gonna be okay.
But I think I feel pretty positive. Mostly when I look on and see everybody, and that's a nice thing too. There's just we're just regular folk. And people in the chat, you're just all regular folk. And then we've got friends on the YouTube who have channels who are regular folk. And we all want to be happy. That's generally the point of what we do here. We want to talk to each other. We want everyone to know you're not alone. Like, Brian Yates, if you're still here, you're not alone. We all have our demons. We all have our battles with health. We all have our daily, oh, shit, I haven't got enough money to buy a piece of steak. We all have our problems, but it's nice to know that we all have these problems. We're not by ourselves in it. And if we all band together and help each other out in some way, even if it's just support, even if it's just saying that, we get it, we understand. You're not alone. Do you know what I mean? It's just I don't know. Oh, don't worry, Black Cat. I know it's sort of sucked, but you know what? The thing is, it will get there. Something will happen. Maybe on a smaller scale. Maybe it'll just be Enzo and me. We'll go visit something, and everyone will just say this is where we're going to be, and we can just all go out for dinner or something. But I was saying to someone the other day that sometimes things happen for a reason. So I was very disappointed. I really was, that I had to cancel the event. But the tickets just didn't sell as they needed to in order for me to put the event on. That's okay. But then as it turns out, when I went to the doctor and I have to have this operation on Tuesday, that would mean that if I had just say the event went ahead, I may well not have been able to come anyway. And I might have had to throw it, or I might have had to have done it all from a distance and let Enzo run the show, because I would have still been in a healing. So I have my operation on Tuesday, and it's going to take. Although I'll be okay after a few days, there's still a month healing time and a reasonable wound that I'll have. And as it turns out, maybe things happen for a reason, because I wouldn't have been in a great place to travel. So do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm disappointed, Dr. Deb, but I stay positive because I think sometimes things happen for a reason. So
I just found out myself, Dr. Deb, and I was supposed to be in it. So.
Yeah. Oh, did I? I thought I emailed you that it was cancelled. Oh, sorry, Enzo. Well, I've told everybody else.
To be fair, I've been a little busy the last week. Well,
you have. Yeah, you have.
But honestly, when I was at Contact, they probably only had like half the crowd they had last year. Times are kind of tough right now. I would put some of the blame on just the general world economy right now.
And look, I did speak to Dustin Parry, and he said that he was disappointed also, but he said, you know what? He said there's a lot of his events that have been cancelled because tickets just haven't sold. He said people are struggling right now economically. And I said, I think that's probably part and parcel, because there were many people who were saying, oh, that would be great, that would be great, that would be great. But it was the expense, and not so much of my ticket. I think my ticket was good value, but the expense at this time, and having to also get a hotel room or,
If you have that event like in another year or 2 years, I think it'll be way better. You'll get a much better response.
Yeah, and I thought, you know what? Thank you, Julie. But that's what I mean. I oftentimes just try to see the positives. So, like I said, with the accident I had with the car in February, if I hadn't have had the accident and had a sore neck, the whiplash, and if I hadn't have gone to the doctor, so accident happened, sore neck, doctor says get a CT scan on your neck, boom, there's the cancer in my neck showed up on the CT scan. That's not what they were looking for. They were looking to see the damage to my neck. So things happen for a reason. If I hadn't have had the car accident, I wouldn't have had a sore neck. I wouldn't have had the CT scan, and that stinky old cancer would still be sitting there because I'm asymptomatic. There's no symptoms. I've got no symptoms. So, and they did a thyroid function test. I get one done every year, and it was fine. So, see, things happen for a reason, and that's how I stay positive. So, I just sort of think, things happen for a reason, and just like the tickets didn't sell, it happens for a reason. Because if I had have sold the tickets, I may well not have been able to travel. So, it would have had to have gone ahead without me, and that would have sucked big time. I would have hated sitting here watching everybody else have fun, and I'm stuck here. So, see, yeah, it's sort of strange how things go, Julie. It is.
In regards to the economy being tough all over, I just spent the last several days on the road. Every hotel I was in, every restaurant I ate in, everything the last week plus I was on the road. All of the wait staff were very happy to see me spending my money there. I never got bad service anywhere. They were just happy there was a paying customer showing up outside of their doorway.
I'm just hoping for America and the world. I'm hoping that come November the 6th, I want to say, is it the 6th of November you have your election? I hope that even before that, I hope things start to pick up a little bit. And I just want America to be a happy place again. I love it there. And if I hadn't have been to visit America, if I hadn't have met so many wonderful people and made so much, I have made a ton of beautiful, beautiful friends that all live in America. That I've had the privilege of being with. I haven't had the privilege of being in your presence just yet, Enzo, but we'll get there. I love them. I love America, and it makes me so sad to see that things are so sad. And I just want America to be wonderful again. To use someone else's phrase, let's make America great again. I mean, I love America is an awesome country with a fantastic history. I can't say it enough. I think I've said it tons of times. I love America, and I just want well, thankfully, because you live there and you've served your country, and I love my own country. I love the world. I love people. I just want everyone to be happy, and I just want people to have food in their bellies. And it doesn't matter if you've got a fantastic house or you live in a tent. It doesn't matter where you live, so long as you've got food in your belly, good friends, and you feel safe. And I just, oh, Dr. Deb said that it looks awesome. It looks really awesome with your shirt. Do it again. Let's see. Let's compare it with your shirt, the American flag. Oh, it does. It goes
These
well.
colors go with every shirt.
Yeah, there you go. Tanya says, Enzo makes America a better place. Well, did you know what I was thinking, Tanya? I have to get back to Virginia City because I have so many people I love in Virginia City, and Enzo does want to see the mines. But also, I want to see the Sally House. Everybody knows my fascination with the Sally House. And Enzo lives in Kansas, although it's the opposite sort of end of Kansas, isn't it? But it's only, an hour and a bit away from you or something? So I'm thinking at some point, probably early next year, given my operation and crap that's going on. Plus, I am going to England in September. That was already paid for. So I'm thinking maybe just after winter next year, before summer. So maybe April, May, or Easter time. I'll try and travel
Julie
to.
R lives in Kansas. She could swing up and meet up with us.
There you go. You could come too. That could be the plan. You, me, Julie. You're most welcome. Because Julie was meant to go to the Sally house and she got bumped, which was sad. But yeah. So I'm thinking I could go to Virginia City so I can see everybody I love, and then travel. Oh, well, Enzo could maybe. We'll try and get you to fly there, hey Enzo, rather than drive 100 hours to get there. Maybe Enzo can meet me in Virginia City, and I can show him around and introduce him to people, and then he might be able to make it an annual trip to Virginia City himself. And then I would love to go to Kansas. But also those caves. Oh, so looking forward to the caves where the giants died.
Love the caves, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
why I
we
like
could do
the
it.
idea of driving someplace is there's interesting things along the way to that final destination that I check out on the way back. Like this time I stopped off in Arizona on the way back from California and checked out some of those old ruins and went rock hunting, and a lot of had amazing food. It's all the little places in between that
Well, I'll tell you what, Enzo, I'll see how I go. I'll see how I go, and I'll save up, and you could fly to Reno. I would have everyone in chat can tell me how you think about what you think about this. So Enzo could meet me in Virginia City. I'll get a hire car, and we can leave Virginia City in a hire car and drive to Kansas. Well, Enzo can drive to Kansas. I'll be a passenger. And along the way,
middle America that nobody gets to see.
Yeah. And along the way, we can stop at all these really interesting places, and then we'll top it off with an investigation of the Sally house. But I'd get it for 2 nights in a row, the Sally house, I think. I'd like it for 2 nights. One night's not enough. And I still don't know that it's haunted. I still don't believe it is. But who knows? And the whole thing for me with the Sally house would be the fact that I would love to go there and pay homage to the Finney family. But I was still, who knows? It could be haunted. Who knows? And also there's a few other places in Atchison, Kansas that I would like to see as well. And that's what we could do. And then Julie can meet me there as well. How's that sound, Julie? That's what I reckon.
Sure.
We could plan
there's another famous haunted place right there in Atchison, just down the street.
It's an old mansion or something. I can't think what it's called now, but it's a mansion. Yeah, I just can't think what it's called. But yeah, and look, from the pictures I've seen of Kansas, it is really pretty. I can't remember if I drove through there or not, but yeah, Dr. Deb, I would, well, as you know, I've looked into the research of the Sally house, so there's certain, there's things I don't believe about what gets told there. But I think my chicken's laying an egg. She's making a lot of noise.
Is that chicken?
Yeah, can you hear? Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say she's.
There's the Sally house, the McIntyre Village.
Mansion. That's it, McIntyre. Yeah. McIntyre, I think they say it. Yeah.
And the Dilgert house is another place in Atchison, I guess.
And I think there's like a doll museum there as well. Like there's quite a few things. I could probably spend a few days in
I'll bring the gasoline and a road flare.
But we could definitely get a hire car and then return it in your hometown, and then we'll use your car.
Who knows? We're talking next year for that, right? Next year.
Yeah.
I might have a van by then.
You might, so we can try that. But yeah, the Bel Air house. I'm not sure. Bel Air. Oh, hang on. Is the Bel Air house that chick that carried on about the boys and I think I don't want to go there. I don't want to go. I don't think the Bel Air house is haunted, if that's the one I'm thinking of. Is that the one with the chick who complained about Sam and Colby and the boy that said, let's get her to come over and finish us off? I thought that was funny. I'm sorry. I've got an Australian sense of humour. I would have gone there if I were her. I would have gone there and said, "Hey boys, I heard what you're saying. Let's go." And the boys would have gone and been all embarrassed. There's different ways to handle crap like that. Ah, dear. Yeah, so that could be a plan. Obviously, I'd have to save up money again, and but I am planning, obviously, on I just and by that time you'll have a new president. I frigging hope you'll have a new president, not the same one you've got now. Bloody hell, that'd be a nightmare. If the American no offense, this is the only time I'll get involved, America. If anyone is in this chat thinking about voting for that old, decrepit man who should be in a nursing home, honestly, no. All right, it's time for a change. You don't have to vote, but I mean, you've got another fellow, that Kennedy man. He might be, from all accounts, he's a very nice man. I don't know. I'm just saying, for God's sakes, dementia. He needs to be in a nursing home. We'll see. But that's all I'll say. I want America to be safe. So don't vote for him, all right? Yes, if he gets in again, you're stuffed. So, I'm not saying they might come up. I don't think
by this time, I think people should realize that he's not really running anything.
Oh, he's not. That's what I meant. But
someone that you didn't vote for is actually running the country right now.
Yeah, the thing that bothers me most is that it's obviously he's not, because he's not well. But what I would be angry about if I were an American and had the right to say any of this, if that were happening in my country, I'd be more angry about the fact that I am being lied to, that there's people that are using him as a puppet, and I'm being lied to about who's actually making the decisions. I mean, it's never always down to a president or a prime minister anyway. It's down to but at the end of the day, people believe that a certain person that they've elected is running the country. So to me, it's like the American people at the moment are being lied to as to who is actually running your country, who's pulling the strings, who's making the decisions for you. And that is what's not right. That's what's not right. So they have a responsibility to the voting people to say, hey, yeah, look, he's not too well. We're going to chuck him in hospital, and we're going to have to either give you a new person to vote for, or I don't know how it works in Australia. Usually, when that sort of thing happens, you get to a new prime minister. Like the people go to the polls and vote in a new prime minister. We did change our prime ministers more than we changed our underpants at one stage there, which was annoying. But yeah, so I just think everybody needs to be clever. That's all.
Okay, we've done our time, and before we lose all the crowd with our political talk.
Oh yeah, well, I'm just saying I want America to be safe. So there you go. Oh, have we already done our time? We've done our 2 hours. And just as that happens, everybody says, Karen, get fucked. Well, yeah, the United States is still there, which is good. But there you go. All right, Ian, I won't do it. But you're British. You don't know. I don't know. I'm Australian. Oh, Holly arrived just as I'm wrapping it up. Oh, it's all right. I just lost 100 of my subscribers now. They're all going to leave me. I just I get
way too much freedom here.
Yeah, way too much freedom. I've said way too much. I've said, that's right, Black Cat. It is. Let's save the world. We are the world. We are the children. And I definitely said I wasn't going to talk about that today. When I before we came on, I said I'm not getting into this today, Enzo.
And you
there you
just
go.
Plows right into it.
I just plowed right into it. It's just because I'm worried. I just
so
want
you get
everyone
on a
to be
list.
happy. Holly says, looking at your chat, it seems you broke all your own rules. I know. But I didn't say who to vote for. I just said who not to.
What happens when I leave for a week? Jeez.
Yes, see, Enzo wasn't here to control me. He was probably giving me dirty looks the whole time and I wasn't paying attention. I heard when that song, I've gone over my 2 hours now, but I heard that the song We Are the World, when that was being taped, that Michael Jackson got really annoyed with some of the people singing on it because they weren't doing it the way he thought they should. And I'm thinking,
Kind of a perfectionist.
Yeah. But as I say, I don't live in America. I just know Americans, and I love America, and I just want it to be wonderful. Oh, Chinese food. I could go some Chinese food, Antoine. Hello, Antoine. What? Now I'll have to watch back and see who you said not to. Oh, you and I won't disagree on that. I'm pretty sure. Unless, I don't know. But as I said earlier on, I said everybody is entitled to their opinion, and it's really good when everyone can just let someone say something and agree to disagree. Wouldn't you say so, Enzo?
Totally agree. We need to get back to that. It's okay to have disagreements on things. It's not you say one thing wrong and everything else you said is canceled out.
Yeah, I know. So that's what I mean. I'm not in America. I'm not an American. I don't really have the right to comment on how people there think, but it does affect our country too in the long run because we are your allies. So we all need to be careful because we don't want to go to war. We just want to have yummy hamburgers at the haunted hamburger joint, and we want to travel and look at things, and we want to have barbecue, and we want to be happy, and we want to laugh, and we want to be safe, and we want to eat, and we want food in our bellies and a roof on our heads. So that's it. What's that? If anyone doesn't get that reference, it's about a man in Australia who dines in restaurants and got arrested by police where the famous line, "Get your hands off my..." Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about, Antoine. Yeah, he was he was getting arrested. There was an Australian guy. He was in a Chinese restaurant. He got arrested, and as they were shoveling him, I can't remember what he did now. I know who he is. I just can't remember what he was in trouble for. And as he's getting forced into the police, into the car, the press were there, and he was saying police brutality, whatever. Get your hand off my penis. And that was, yes, I know what you're talking about, Antoine. How that fell into this is beyond me. Holly knows what you're talking about too, Antoine. See, the world's full of crazy people. I'm one of them. We're all crazy. Oh, dear. Before we go, is there any Bigfoot news? Was there any Bigfoot news at Contact in the Desert? Did they talk about the Bigfoot?
Nope, it's pretty much an alien specific thing. I think I talked about, actually, I was one of the many conversations I had with other folks that were there. We talked about a little bit of everything, and I got into a nice conversation with a guy that lives in Western Colorado, Western Slope, and he said he's seen Bigfoot a couple of times around where he was. And he goes, I think it's obviously it's a Colorado thing. Everybody goes four-wheeling on all these trails that wind all through the mountains and stuff like that. That's pretty common. And there was one area where he didn't go there very often, but he kind of made it up this one route and happened across he showed me the pictures, and it has all the earmarks of cattle mutilation.
Oh,
so it had all, and he went back to that same area 4 or 5 weeks later, and it was exactly the same. Nothing had ripped it apart. Nothing had drug it off. No predators had touched it, which is another one of those earmarks for a cattle mutilation. So strange
I don't
things.
understand why they mutilate cattle. What's the point? They don't even take away a steak. Like it's
They don't even
just
take the good parts. They take the lips, they take the eyes, they take the ears, they take.
I've got it. They're making hot dogs.
They're making hot dogs. They just like hot dogs, apparently.
Just lips and assholes. What was that? That was in I think John Candy said that line in a movie with
The Great
what was that?
Outdoors with
The Great Outdoors. Yeah, with Dan Aykroyd, and it was John Candy, wasn't it? I must watch that again. That was a funny movie. And yeah, and he goes something or other, hot dogs. It's just lips and assholes. Lips and assholes.
It was the two raccoons that would always rummage through the trash they were talking about.
And then the bear. Doesn't the bear get in? And then they're chasing about. Oh, I've got to watch that. I must go find that. If anybody wants a good laugh.
The old 56er with the giant steak that he had to eat. I kind of felt like that after that burger at the Haunted Hamburger.
If anyone in this chat hasn't seen that movie, it's an old one from the 80s. Dan Aykroyd, John Candy. There's someone else in it too. But Dan and John, I'm sure, are the leads. And they're staying in a cabin with family, I think, with their kids. And it's just, it's the funniest bloody movie. At least I hope it's as funny as I remember. But yeah, go watch it. If you want a good laugh, go watch that. Dan and John. Bless their cotton socks. I want to meet Dan Aykroyd one day, Enzo.
Oddly enough, there were people at Contact in the Desert there because we were talking about celebrities that were supposed to be there. Ice Cube was supposedly there. I didn't see him or any of his entourage or anything like that there. But that was one of those names that a lot of people said they would have liked to have seen there was Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, I reckon he'd like it there. I could listen to him talk for hours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could just listen to him. He's got such great stories about his living in this haunted house when he was young, about seeing aliens.
Yep.
There's Joe Rogan actually talks to him, guys, on one of his episodes. He has Dan Aykroyd on, and they talk for a good, 2.5 hours or something, and Dan tells all these stories. So if you want to see a really good interview with Dan Aykroyd, have a look at that one. That's pretty cool. Well, guys, now that I've upset half of everybody, I still love you, everybody, and I know you still love me, even though you think I'm dumb.
And I missed you.
And you missed me? Did you miss me?
I did.
Oh, yeah, I missed you last week too, although I had the lovely ladies. I had Heather and Betty here with me. But, yeah, I did miss talking to you last week. I look forward to these little catch-ups, and I absolutely adore everybody that comes in and supports me. Thank you, especially when today you could have been watching. Oh, I don't even know if they're still on. They might still be on. I'm going, so if they are, I'll let you know.
The Blind Frog Ranch people were at Contact in the Desert.
All right, I want you all to head over to Entity 7 Paranormal and say, and probably half of you in there anyway, you bloody little buggers, probably multitasking live stream. Go in though and tell Joe, Karen, your research expert, says hi. Would you do that for me, or just go over and say Karen says hi, and I'll go over there and have a look at him in a little minute anyway. I think he and I are going to do a live in a couple of weeks maybe or something to discuss the research on the Hill House in wherever the hell that is. Where was it? Texas. Mineral Wells, Texas. The haunted Hill House or something. My research shows a lot of lies. So we'll see. All right, guys, I love you and thank you for being understanding when I rant. And I know you all are. And because you're still all here. Look, Liz is still here. She still loves me. And Ian, you're still here somewhere. Bloody Pom. Actually, I'm going to Pommyland in September. Don't forget. Maybe I can find you, Ian, and we can have a cup of tea. All right, Dr. Deb, D, Tanya, thank you as always for doing that for me. And yeah, head on over to Joe and tell him I sent you. And I love you all. And I'll see you. Well, I don't know. We'll see how I go. Operation for me on Tuesday. I plan to be here with Enzo next week. If I can't talk properly for whatever reason, Enzo can do most of the talking again. So it'll all be good. All right, guys. Love you lot. Yeah, and I'll see you next week, and I'll let you all know how I go with my operation on Tuesday. See you later.